but 22 miles of gasoline in Florida is only $1.80.
Right, because it's half a gallon.
So
less.
there's no point to using public chargers ever with this car, unless you're somewhere where gas is so expensive that public juice is somehow cheaper. Ooh, you want to talk about the Cybertruck?
Do you want to talk about the Cybertruck?
I pick 124 in honor of John's birthday.
124. Oh, because, January 24th is John's birthday. 124. The winner is...
Awesome. It's your Cybertruck.
All right, folks, today it's a cruise show, my first show back from my Florida vacation where I spent a week with the Toyota Prius. I am so excited about the new Prius, and I give my full review. Plus, Zack spent a week here in California with the new Toyota Prius, totally coincidentally. So we've got an awful lot to say about it. I went boating, I killed iguanas, and I was in the islands. Not those islands, not like Jamaica Islands. I was in the Florida Keys. Plus, we're going to talk about the Cybertruck, what I got wrong and what I got right about that. Some people are going to get to watch me eat some crow, but also maybe not. It's a cruise show on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Hey, folks. It's, what day is it? Sunday. It's Sunday. I should have known because there was no traffic when I went to the South Bay and back. Welcome to the program. Hannah's here. Today is the day that we are going to pick a winner of our watch giveaway. This has been a really interesting and fun process. Hanna went well out of her way categorizing 617 individual entries from the email. There was not a confirmation email, but believe me, we got the emails. You checked the spam folder too, Han, right?
I sure did.
Okay. So I want to get to that in just a second because we're not just going to pick the winner and see who's going to get this prototype Nodus Canyon watch, but we also have some amazing stats that Hanna has compiled about the entrance and about some of the good we did and some of the people that we helped. But before we get to that, I have to issue a correction from the podcast that we did in the Mustang, the Dark Horse. A couple people called us out on this one. Some were much nicer than others. Important to note that this was an innocent mistake. I saw a thing on the internet when it happened, and then I didn't see the correction that happened sometime later, the fact check. Mm-hmm. So if we were doing that show from the studio, Zack probably would have found it. And Zack, you can make my computer the source. Here's the fact check. I talked about this photo that was shown that appeared to show Border Patrol people whipping migrants, Haitian migrants. Turns out the Border Patrol did not whip the Haitian migrants. Now, if you read this article from Politico that a lot of people sent me to prove that this was not, they didn't whip the migrants. If you actually read the article, they did some really fucked up things to the migrants. They were screaming racist shit at them. They were using excessive force, but no whipping.
Yeah.
No whipping.
There was like a big investigation into it. So
big investigation, no whipping, other fucked up things. So I apologize for spreading what turned out to be, quote, fake news. And when I find out that I said something that's factually incorrect, I genuinely feel bad about it. It really bothers me. Hanna can tell you, we were on vacation, and it was not a good morning for me when I found out about this, or Hanna.
I know.
Right?
I was reading these things like, oh, he's out of town. Oh, no.
Yeah. And so Zack did cut it from the podcast, but we didn't cut it to cover up a mistake. That wasn't the intention. We cut it in order to prevent it from going further.
Yeah. And
this is the correction where I apologize and admit to saying the wrong thing. So I also before we move on from that, keep my computer as a source, Zack, because I have some other well-researched stories that I just want to show. This one from The Intercept shows about, I read, is this one I recommend strongly, about how the Border Patrol is incredibly fucked up in the way they treat people and has basically no accountability whatsoever. I do recommend reading that. That's a very thorough article. This report is from the Advocacy for Human Rights in the Americas, and the executive summary here, I read the whole thing, but the executive summary basically says that they regularly abuse human rights with no accountability whatsoever. And then this piece here is this is from Human Rights Watch, and this details major human rights abuses by the Border Patrol. And so, yeah, just wanted to throw that out there just before anyone gets too defensive of the Border Patrol. But they didn't whip people in that photo. Good? Moving on.
Okay.
Right. Just wanted to put that out there because, you know, those stories aren't believable. You know, they're like, you're believing the fucking, you believed the photo. It's like, well, there's a reason that is believable. And it's because they
track record's not great.
The track record is pretty fucking shit. Just saying.
It's like when people say, like, Alfa Romeo is not that unreliable anymore. You're like, my bad.
Yeah.
But
but I said that because of something. So, sorry to spring that one on Hannah, but I felt like it was important to do the fact check up front.
Yeah, this wasn't in the agenda.
It wasn't. It was not. It was not in the meeting notes.
Hannah, your thoughts?
Oh, so glad you asked.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the contest. We basically made 3 ways to enter. You could sign up with Be the Match to be a donor. You could donate blood or platelets at your local hospital, Red Cross, or donation center. Or if you, the idea was that you donated of yourself, but if you're physically unable, there's a lot of reasons people might not be able to physically do that. So we did have a cash donation option. You could give $100 or more to Be the Match. So it seems like you already gave the stats to G, right? She knows about the stats.
I gave a quick rundown of them.
Okay, so I don't have to call her yet for the stats portion of this. Okay, so we have 617 entries, and again, the prize is a prototype one-of-one dark teal watch. It is the only one that has ever been made and will ever be made. I have worn it once. Other than that, it's been kept very nice. It's in brand new condition. It is exactly like the other ones that we're selling, except for the color, and it does not have a serial number on the back. It says XXX on the back. If you are in the United States of America or Canada, I will fly you to Los Angeles. We have not picked a winner yet. We're going to do that live right now. If you're in LA, or not LA. If you're in LA, yeah, come over. If you're in the U.S. or Canada, we'll fly you to LA. We'll put you up in a hotel. We will have you at the watch delivery party, which will be at West Side Collector Car Storage, South Bay. It's going to be on January 13th. And if you have bought a watch, either the mint, the upcoming orange, which I've talked about, or the winner of this, then you're invited to that, and you will get your watch there. And I will take you up in the canyons in one of my cars of your choice. Doesn't look like the Lambo will be ready by then, but you can choose any of the other cars that we've got. And if we have a press car during that week, then we can throw that one in the mix as well. Got it? Okay, so Han, Data, what did we go? What did we learn from all of these entries?
I mean, the best part of having a wife who's a researcher who cannot get a job is that I had a lot of time to go through all this stuff. I had a great Excel spreadsheet going, and we have a great collection of stats. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you guys were reaching into my space.
No, we're just making you sound better by moving your microphone.
Fascinating. I mean, first of all, I want to just say thank you, to you guys for putting this on, to everyone who entered. I cried multiple times reading these entries, thinking about what people did, crying now. That's very awkward for me. I'm very sweaty suddenly. But lots of good statistics, and I don't usually cry during statistics unless they're terrible.
Should we call G so you can read the statistics with her listening?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to call Jillian, who is our sister-in-law and John's widow. And,
Hello, Matt.
hello, Jillian. You are you're in the studio right now, and Hannah's gonna read off some fun statistics about the giveaway, and then I'm going to call on you to pick a winner.
Fantastic. I
All
can't
right.
wait.
All right, chill for a second.
Don't interrupt me, Jillian.
Don't interrupt.
Try not to.
It's very hard for her.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had 617 entries. Starting with the cash, 89 people donated cash to the cause, raising a total of $12,031, which was spectacular.
That's a bunch of money.
It's
That's
a
big
lot
donations.
of money.
Yeah.
A couple of people took advantage of their.
Wait, from 89 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Right,
money.
it's a
from
huge
89
amount of money
people.
from 89 people. A couple of people took advantage of their company's matching programs, which was amazing too.
Yeah, great.
And
That doesn't get you extra entries. That's just nice.
yeah, no, it was just
Yeah, that's just
amazing.
nice.
You earned a place in my heart instead. We had 308 people sign up to be the match, which is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
One person whose email I couldn't find, unfortunately, had sent an email saying, I thought when I signed up, I'd just find a match immediately.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
could really relate to
Yeah.
that. You know, like once I was in the registry, I was like, who else? Who else can I help? And then we had 223 people donate bodily fluids of some sort.
Wow.
Meaning blood, platelets, red cells, whatever that was.
One guy donated sperm, but just for fun.
They didn't have a place to. Like, we don't
he
even-
didn't get
He just-
an entry. He just thought we should know.
He just
don't take
emailed
this.
me that sperm.
I brought
That's all.
everything just in case. I did extra homework. You don't get an A++.
I wasn't gonna, but they had a really nice selection of magazines, and well,
Well, also in Canada, apparently, it's like privacy rules are real legit, and so there was no photos allowed in the blood
Oh.
area,
yeah, there
so
were
you could do
people
anything.
There were people from other countries who
In
were
fact-
like, you know, can I use my own country's donation system as opposed to be the match? And I was like, as long as whatever. Like they need blood in Russia too, or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
we had great degree of all the
I don't know why I
countries to
just
choose
threw out
from.
Russia, but-
really excited
but-
about that. Probably at the border also.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had almost, I think,
Good
12
callback,
countries,
Ann.
maybe a few more. We had Qatar, Korea, Belgium, South Africa, Austria, U.S., Canada, Australia, Italy, Germany, and what I believe is Macedonia. Someone had sent a picture of themselves
Cool.
holding up a newspaper that was in the Cyrillic alphabet. And between Googling the guy, the alphabet, I think it's Macedonia.
That's rad. Population of 2 million. Small. That's awesome.
And you guys have one fan.
That's awesome.
One.
It's
so awesome.
spectacular.
We've penetrated
We're in.
Macedonia.
This is great.
We also had a couple shout outs that I liked, or kind of notable things. Kyle H. was our largest donor in terms of cash, donated $1,500 to be the match, which
That's amazing.
unbelievable. I shed a lot of tears. Jace J.
100 tears.
1,500 tears, and that's pretty much all the tears I've ever had.
Today. That's all the two.
Jace J, who was our first entrant, pretty immediate. Alan J, who said that if they win, they want the watch to go to auction, which I know had a
That's
place in my
cool.
heart.
Yeah, well, if Alan wins, we'll put it on watchcollecting.com for charity.
Cool.
And we had Sean T, who gave the most blood donations. And then Anthony.
Did he do like 7?
He did a lot.
It was more than 5, because I said if you donated blood multiple times, you would get an entry for each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 7. It was a bunch.
Blood or platelets? Blood, probably, right? Because platelets, you have to take a 2-week break. Either way, like, shout out.
Because you can't donate blood that often.
I think it was.
Oh.
I think you can donate platelets more often
Platelets.
than you
Oh,
can
okay.
donate blood.
He used
He was
platelets.
platelets. He did a lot of needlework.
I want to say
Sean.
nine times. Well, he's in here
At the
9
end of
times.
this, he has a needle tattoo.
He might have done. He's in here 9 times. He also might have done some be the match things as well. And then Anthony A, who was our second most donated. And one thing, because I really believe in fairness, when Matt had posted the photos of the people giving blood on the Instagram page, that is not everyone. I could only do those in groups of 9, and I had an odd number. So I don't want anyone to think that if they couldn't find themselves there,
there's
that it wasn't that.
90 people.
And actually, Zach, go to the next page, the next photo.
The second.
The name of the person who I also maybe the next one. Anyway, there was someone who wore the Farah T-shirt to give blood
from
your 40th birthday,
which
and
is
that
on there
just
somewhere.
Again, tears galore. And I really liked everyone's creativity in their photos as well.
It really represents the audience that we talk to. It's like almost all men.
You know what?
A bunch of
more women
dudes.
than I expected.
There's
there
the guy in the Farah
I'm sorry,
shirt.
I don't know your name, sir. But my last shout out is to Christian L, who passed out giving blood, and did not actually send me a photo of that, which I do really appreciate, but I do have his Instagram handle if we want to find it.
Well, it'd be hard to take the photo once you're passed out.
Right, yeah. It'd be great if you passed out and the doctors were all like, hold on, take a photo
This
first.
is for charity? Wait, yeah.
I also passed out giving blood.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. It was not. I wanted to give blood, and it turns out I'm not fit. I'm not cut for it.
Well, they take a lot of vials, right? I mean, it's.
I don't know
No.
what.
No?
I don't know what it was.
Matt just really wanted the orange juice faster.
Yeah, the orange
okay.
juice was good. It was at Bluey's, and so the orange juice was fresh squeezed.
He was like,
nice.
I feel a little woozy. I need a burrito.
That's one vial.
Okay, wait, and then
I worked them for some free snacks. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you do. And then there were just 3 emails that I really loved. One was from Dan D, who said, while waiting to get drained at the blood bank, Family Feud was on. The survey question asked was, when you're at church and the pastor asks you, oh no, it got cut off.
Oh no.
Anyway, the number 2 answer was to have sex with the choir. So you guys can fill in the rest.
This is fun. This is Mad Libs.
Yeah. He said the number 1 answer was family, number 3 was money, 4 was to have a firm bowel movement, 5 was sports team, and 6 was to not go to hell. Can I get an amen up in here? Please enter me into your contest.
So can we reverse engineer the question from the answers?
Okay.
So the second most popular answer was to have sex with the choir.
Yes.
The third was what?
What are you? This is one thing that you wish before you die?
One thing you think about in church?
And in order, it was family, have sex with the choir, money, sports team. Oh, no, sorry. Money, firm bowel movement, sports team.
Things where you say, oh my God. No.
No.
I don't know. That's not bad.
That's only if you're referencing the George
first half
Burns.
of the
Very
question was
mixed,
when you're at
mix.
church and the pastor asks you.
When you're at church and the pastor... I need to read this.
I don't know.
Hold on. Okay, the question, I got
here
it.
we go.
When you're at church and the pastor asks you to bow your head and pray, what are you praying for?
That was
for?
what... Wow. See, I thought about that, but when I heard bowel movement, I'm like, really? That's the fourth
number
most common?
2
But
answer
Firm bowel
for
movement.
100 people.
Yeah, but... Right. This
is why Family Feud is a weird
hard
Family
game.
Feud's amazing.
Yeah, because you have to put yourself in the mindset of 100 mostly dumb people.
But the majority are thinking
it's
about
crazy.
fucking the choir?
Yeah, it's
Actually,
crazy.
That kind of makes...
Well,
Not all of them.
Hold
like,
on. Before you say
select-
majority, as a researcher, I would need to see all of the statistics.
Well, the second most common answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't necessarily mean
Right,
majority.
doesn't mean majority.
Ooh, fair.
Like family could have been 60, and then fucking the choir could be 12.
But also in the
Gotcha.
research world, there's an entire debate about majority. Like, if you say 51%, does that make it a majority? I say no. But anyway, moving on.
What makes it a majority?
That second answer was mostly men being polled, I think.
Yeah,
That's like, what do dude... Yeah.
Ask 100 men.
Yeah, like, well, I'm thinking about taking a shit, football, which one I want to bang, who's singing.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, what about God and saving people? Like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Damn it.
Wait, what do you consider a majority? Folks, we got to take a quick break for our sponsor, BetterHelp. And this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. They're one of our favorite sponsors, and they provide an amazing service. I have been the beneficiary of talk therapy, right? Also known as just therapy, mental health care, for the better part of 2 decades. And you might need it too. Maybe you have an actual issue like depression or anxiety or even something more severe, or maybe you just need, or someone in your life needs, a way to talk through some things that are going on in your life. It could be a financial situation, relationships, family. It can be stressful, particularly around the holidays. So whether you're gifting BetterHelp to yourself or someone in your family, you might really benefit from this. And it's helpful for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundaries, empowering you to be the best version of yourself. It's not just for those who've experienced major trauma. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge if you feel it's not working out with that person in particular, right? And in the season of giving, give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. So go to BetterHelp.com/smokingtire today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smokingtire to get 10% off your first month. We are also brought to you today by Omaha Steaks. You can you could think of this as meat therapy, right? In the absence of regular therapy, meat therapy will get you there. If I'm feeling sad, Omaha Steaks in the freezer, that will certainly help. And the holidays are here, so let Omaha Steaks take the guesswork out of giving. Shop carefully curated packages that are guaranteed to make spirits bright all winter long. Go to omahasteaks.com and save 50% off site-wide. Plus, if you use promo code TIRE at checkout, get an additional $30 off your order. Send tender, juicy butcher-cut filet mignons, mouth-watering burgers, gourmet jumbo franks, or even easy-to-prep meals that are ready in a flash. Plus, those desserts, man, I love those little apple pies they do. They are fire! Omaha Steaks is ready to ship your order right away, so shop early and beat out that shipping rush. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use promo code TIRE at checkout. Omaha Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Head over to omahasteaks.com. Take advantage of 50% site-wide, plus use promo code TIRE at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Again, omahasteaks.com. Take advantage of 50% off site-wide. Promo code TIRE at checkout to get an extra $30 off your order. There may be a minimum order required. And now, back to our show.
I personally consider majority over 90%.
Oh,
to say truly the majority of people, it's a whole debate. And
versus just 51%?
Yeah. Because 51% feels like it could. Anyway.
Okay.
The Senate disagrees.
Okay, Dan M. said,
have to.
My wife says you're a mensch for making me a part of, or for making this a part of your contest. I just really liked that his wife weighed in. And the last one, how would you say? Oh, wait.
I think that's pronounced Craig.
Craig, you think?
I mean, it's C-H...
I-R-A-G.
Chirag.
Chirag.
C-H-I-R-A-G. Chirag. Yeah.
Anyway, Chirag said, by the way, when I first heard the story of Matt's brother-in-law, it hit me very close to home. I'm a resident physician. I've treated countless patients nearing a premature end of life due to cancer. Every time it's gut-wrenching, but the most meaningful part is when I can help people pass with dignity and comfort. It sounds like John passed surrounded by his family and friends, and he lives on through you all. And that just
thank you, Chirag. That's
it was
very
amazing.
Sweet.
Thank you for sharing that, Chirag.
All right. So
okay, I'm going to randomize this spreadsheet.
You've already
two more
randomized
times.
it multiple times, right? Like 4 or 5 times already?
Yep.
So
But I believe in continually randomizing.
yeah. How do you randomize?
I forgot.
On Excel. Uh-oh.
Shuffle.
Sort by random?
Randomize range.
There you go. Oh yeah. There's
once.
There's a hotkey for it.
There's twice.
Yeah.
Okay. G.
Okay. Jillian, are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay. Do you is she
So,
coming in?
have you guys explained how the system's going to work? Like,
What system?
You randomized, and then now...
And now Jillian will pick a number
There we go.
at random between 1 and 617. Okay, G?
Random, yes.
Yes, between 1 and 617.
Okay.
Go.
I pick 124 in honor of John's birthday.
124. Oh, because, yeah, January 24th is John's birthday. 124. The winner is... That's 123 you've just highlighted.
Oh.
124 is Mr. Scott Sterling who donated to be the match. Scott Sterling is the winner. And let's find his email in there. Congratulations, Scott. Not a lot of extra words in his email. We will email him back. But Scott Sterling, who donated to be the match, number 124, is the winner of the watch. There's a lot of Scott Sterlings on Instagram. I don't think that's going to work, Zach.
Okay.
But, G, thank you for your help.
Matt, thank you. And Zach, thank you guys for coordinating this. I love it so much. I'm so grateful, and it makes me feel very happy. Thank you guys.
And you're going to come to the watch event and help hand over the watch to Scott Sterling, right?
Absolutely. See you soon, Scott.
All right. Thanks, G.
Bye, G.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Woo!
All right, we have a winner. Scott Sterling is the winner of the watch, and depending on where he lives, that's a pretty American-sounding name, and Be the Match means he's in America, because you have to be in America to sign up for Be the Match. So looks like Scott's getting a trip to L.A. to collect the watch on January 13th. For everyone else, patrons particularly, who are interested in buying the orange version of the Canyon watch, it will be available on Wednesday, December 12th, to patrons first. We have 100 allocations of this watch for patrons, and then we have 100 more that are going to be released to the public January 1st. You got that? So December 13th, excuse me, Wednesday, December 13th, this Wednesday. If you're listening to this show the day it came out, it's tomorrow, okay? We will send out the link to purchase at 7 a.m. Pacific time to patrons. And there's 100 allocations for patrons of the orange. If they want to collect them at the event in LA, along with the Mint guys and Scott, the winner of the teal, they can do that. The public will be able to as well. All the watches will be ready. So if you are a patron and buy one on the 13th, if you're a member of the public who gets one on the 1st, you will be invited to the event in LA on the 13th to pick it up.
Cool.
All right?
Scott is not a patron. I just wanted to say that.
Scott is not a
I
patron.
searched.
Okay. That's all right. He is a champion.
No, just in case people were like, oh, I bet it was a Patreon member or something. No, Scott is just a public listener who wanted to help out and do a good thing.
Okay. Well, we'll email him that he has won, and that's awesome. And okay, well that's our game, and thank you to all 617 of you who submitted qualified entries, and of course especially thanks to Hannah for going through all of the data, and because those all had to be input individually. There was no systematic way to do that.
This was Matt's idea. I just want to clarify that, but also this was such a great idea, and like such a great thing you did. It was a very impressive idea. You're doing the watch thing. Like, what a cool thing to do, and a very kind thing to do. I mean, it's very on brand for you. But
well, we had a special watch. We had one special watch, and so, you know, it was either keep it or do something really cool with it. And so we decided to do something really cool with it. So, are you still looking for this guy on Instagram?
I am.
Give it up. We'll get him. We'll figure out who it is later. Moving on. All three of us have driven the new Prius.
Yeah.
Zach had it here, and then Hannah and I drove it on vacation in Florida. So we should collectively review the new Prius. I fucking loved this little thing.
Very impressive.
I thought this car was great.
Yeah.
It's good looking. It's spacious. It drives nice.
It rides very good.
It rides rides really well.
And it's soft, but it's also damped pretty well. It's not just super, undersprung. I mean, it was really impressive.
Well, compared to, like, it weighs 3,300 pounds. So, like, compared to,
your average EV.
The Prime might be a little heavier. The Prime is 3,500. The regular one is 3,300. The non-plug-in. This is 3,500, which I know to like car nerds that's heavy, but to like everyone else in the modern world that's pretty light. So you can, when the car is that light, you can have it ride and handle well without having to make it too stiff. But the shape of it is great. The The most of the user interface stuff is easy and good. There's 4 USB-C ports. There's 2 110 outlets. There's one in the back seat and one in the trunk. It was really nice to have this thing on vacation for a week.
Yeah. I mean, they've been such popular cars for a long time because they work well as a tool. But I thought the first gen, my mom had a first gen and it rode shitty. Second one was a lot better but looked terrible. This one now, I mean, I feel like they didn't have to go too far to grab more of the market, just make it not look like an alien spaceship or ugly. But it's just a really good car overall. I think it felt a bit like the Volt in terms of how solid it feels and how well engineered it is. My only complaint was it's very hard to see the edges of it. Like parking sensors are very important because I think it was a little bit hard to park and I was a little worried about hitting poles and shit like that. Yeah, there's just miles of dashboard, and then because of the aerodynamic design, you can't really see where the
That's why all cars should be square.
Yeah.
Would you like to buy a Rivian?
And actually, I think the front cameras, the angles and stuff they chose for the front cameras were kind of weird. Like it has these front cameras, but they don't actually help you with much.
I've seen this on a lot of cars. There's like whatever fisheye lens they use. You can't. You can watch things go past the corner and they get morphed. I trust the sensors a lot more.
Right. A couple things that I really liked. I thought the tiny steering wheel was pretty awesome. I really liked the tiny steering wheel because for someone my height, I could have it like low and it didn't block any of the gauges. All of the gauges were above the steering wheel completely.
But on the contrary, when I drove it, couldn't see a thing.
Hannah, because Hannah likes a high steering wheel and sits higher than me.
Right, that makes sense.
And so they blocked a little bit for her. I thought the radar cruise was really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And even I used the lane keep assist a little bit. It was pretty smooth with its inputs. I wouldn't use it regularly, but I thought the radar cruise programming was excellent. I don't think they did this on purpose, but Toyota accidentally, or the delivery place in Florida, they gave it to us with no battery.
Okay.
So for 4 days we didn't have anywhere to plug it in. So we just drove it on gas for 4 days. And it's Florida. There's not any big hills or anything. But we got 42 miles per gallon just on gas for 4 days, which was great. Once I put it into auto, when we finally got a charge and we put it in auto, you got 51 miles per gallon for 60 miles, and then the battery was drained and it would go back to 42 miles per gallon, and we were getting 35 miles of EV only range once we plugged it in. So that's that's pretty good. That covers like a lot of people's use cases.
Yeah, and I found it accelerated fine because they dropped it off here with I think like half charge. And we drove up to the canyons one day, and obviously that used all of the battery, but then it charged a lot on the way down. And it hums along plenty quick in EV-only mode. I mean, if you charge it at home, it's funny, this is like very similar capacity to the second-gen Volt.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to bring that up because that's the best car in the world. It's just...
they were there first.
I think this is the usable amount of battery people need.
Yeah.
You just 40 miles of range, and then the rest is hybrid. And if you go beyond that, the car gets too heavy.
Yeah. Did the one that you have the solar roof?
Yes.
So ours had the solar roof, which was $610. I did some math, and it seems like if you park it outside in a sunny place like Southern California or Phoenix or whatever, it would pay for itself in about 2 years. If you parked it in a garage, it might take 3 to 4 years because you're just not outside as much.
Yeah.
The gauge that shows you how much the solar panel is generating is potentially misleading because the thing on the gauge, it sort of implies that it's only adding power when the car's turned on, which would be dumb.
Yeah.
Why would you not want it to add power all the time?
Yeah.
But if you live somewhere where gas is expensive, the solar panel would pay itself off faster as well.
It seems like it depends on how sunny is it, how clean is the solar roof, and how expensive is gas, and how long is it outside. A lot of that stuff to think about.
In Florida, where gas is cheap, I used a public level 2 charger, and it cost me $4.50 to add 22 miles of electric range. okay? But 22 miles of gasoline in Florida is only $1.80.
Right, because it's half a gallon.
So
less.
there's no point to using public chargers ever with this car, unless you're somewhere where gas is so expensive that public juice is somehow cheaper. Which that was a very expensive charger.
But does a public charger change from state to state like gas does, or is the cost the cost?
I think it probably changes with market forces and stuff. I don't know for sure, but I would guess it's like, how many incentives are there to put them there? How are they trying to incentivize people to use EVs in that area, stuff like that.
But $450 to get 22 miles out of a level 2 charger at a state park that's really expensive. Normally,
Gator food's expensive.
Yeah. Normally, like if you're on a DC, the faster the charge, the more the more you pay for it, right? So if you're at a 350 kilowatt, it's going to charge fast, but you're going to pay basically as much as you would have paid for gasoline. But like for a level 2, flowing at 3.5 kilowatts, that's very expensive.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That should have been like $1.50 or something, or $2.
Yeah,
not $4.50. Guys, we got to take one more break from the action because today we're supported by Crowd Health. You know what stinks? Health insurance. Health insurance companies that profit off of not paying your bills. It's a perverse incentive. Did you know that 48 million claims on Obamacare last year were denied? That's 1 out of 5 claims getting rejected. Do you want to take that chance? Health insurance stinks. It's confusing, it's expensive, and it's frustrating, but there's a better way. Welcome to the alternative. It's Crowd Health. Crowd Health was created to get rid of the headaches of health insurance. For $175 for an individual or $575 for a family of 4 or more, you'll get access to a community of people willing to help out in the event of an emergency. You'll also get telemedicine visits, discounted prescriptions, and more. All this without doctor networks getting in the way. So let Crowd Health help with your healthcare needs. You can get started today for just $99 a month for the first 3 months if you use code TIRE to get the healthcare that you deserve. Crowd Health is not insurance, but you can learn more at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com and use code TIRE. But the only bad thing I thought about this car was that to toggle back and forth between the Toyota functions and CarPlay functions is super clunky. So we were using Waze to get around, but then listening to the satellite radio. So to change stations, you'd have to go to the Apple CarPlay home screen, then hit the Toyota button, then hit Source, then hit Sirius.
That's a lot.
Then
there's
change.
No steering wheel button?
So there's steering wheel buttons if you program favorites.
Oh,
so this may be like a journalist problem. So if you program your favorites, you can flip through them on the steering wheel.
Okay.
But if you don't program your favorites...
But it doesn't default to you want to change the channel on the thing you're listening to.
No.
Right, okay.
And then to go back to now I've set a station, I hit CarPlay, it doesn't go straight to the map. It goes to the CarPlay home screen, then I have to hit Waze again. This is a small problem that wouldn't be a deal breaker because otherwise this car's awesome. But I was surprised at how clunky that back and forth process was compared to our Ford, which,
it also sometimes decided we were using the car's or your phone's music instead of satellite. It kind of randomly chose that.
Yeah. Like if you know the thing where if your phone's on CarPlay and if Hannah was driving, my phone was on CarPlay and I'd pull up a website that had an embedded video, it would shut off the satellite radio and go to that. And then I have to manually do that process to toggle the satellite radio.
Yeah, sometimes it plays iTunes default.
There was that very cool, I don't think this is about the Prius Prime anymore, but the very cool feature where if Matt's car was the one connected and it was, playing his car, if your phone was connected, I had a thing come up on my phone that said do you want to add to the playlist?
Oh, that's another
CarPlay thing. And I could choose music to put into this playlist, and I could override his music choices, which was amazing.
Like a jukebox battle.
You could pass the aux.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
You just add it to that. That's very cool.
Yeah. That's an Apple thing, but that's a smart new thing. What other notes do I have here?
I never rode in the back seat. Did you? Either
I
of you?
did because I was drunk on my birthday, and Hannah drove home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I mean, granted, she's short, and so, but when she was driving, I was chilling back there, and had a rear heated seat.
What does that have to do with my height?
Because you moved the seat
I moved the
forward.
seat. Yeah. Sorry.
You thought I was just like randomly like, she's short.
Yeah.
No, it's because you moved
He mentions it all the time.
Because you moved the seat forward. No, that was, well, you being short was a thing because of the Kia EV6 GT and the manual seat. That was a deal breaker.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we're sharing a daily driver, we need to have memory seats, which the Prius has.
Yeah, especially because you're going forward and up or down.
Yeah,
like,
no, there was
too
like too many moves.
Yeah.
Multiple moves. Yeah, we couldn't do it in the EV6 GT, unfortunately.
I mean, I like this car. I mean, I like good appliance cars, but the fact that this is good looking, it has me looking at them.
A commenter said Ferrari SF90 headlights,
For sure.
and I can't unsee that.
Oh,
now.
100%.
Yeah, I can't unsee that. You know where they don't have Priuses? South fucking Florida. It was, I shit you not, it was 4 days before I saw another Prius. And I don't mean another new Prius. I mean any Prius.
Do they have Uber and Lyft there? What are they driving instead?
I don't know, but they're not driving fucking Priuses.
Wow.
Gas is really cheap down there, but it was after a couple days I was like, Hannah, there's no Priuses here. Why is that? And it wasn't until we got to Miami proper that I saw any Priuses. And eventually I saw one last gen car, one Prius C, and one new one. But like, I mean, it was a single digit number of Priuses. This Wikipedia says that Florida is the third most hybrids sold, but I guess they're not Prius hybrids.
I mean, Sarah's mom has a Lexus ES hybrid.
Yeah.
Super nice car.
Yeah.
It's like 8 years old and looks perfect.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
But man, you know, if anybody out there is like, you know what I want? A car. Just a car.
Yeah.
Just a fucking daily driver, no bullshit, no headache car. The new Prius is so great for that.
It's a very good appliance, and like I love the design in the back. I think this new language is really good looking because I think I used to really like the way the Camry looked.
Yeah.
And I think now it's gotten a little bit too affliction UFC. Like there's all these extra vents and extra bulges on it now, and I think the Prius and the Sienna are keeping the super design language. Like it looks smooth and round, and I think they did a good job with it.
And this photo that we're looking at right now, that's the state park that charged me too much for too little charge. Although I thought Everglades was cute.
But it did let us ride our bike into crocodiles' mouths.
Yeah, that was
which
cool.
was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, just an aside, not about the car.
Yeah.
Very good feature of that park.
There's a 15-mile bike trail through Everglades, and there's like alligators and crocodiles just like all over the place.
What?
Yeah.
I guess they don't chase you.
No, they're chilling.
Wow.
I thought they were fake. Just so we're clear, the first like 2 miles was filled with fake alligators, as far as I could tell.
That would be smart of them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But the park staff gets very insulted if you mention such things.
Yeah,
though.
if you ask such an innocent question, such as
the guy was like, "Ma'am, this is a state park, not the Rainforest Cafe."
Wow.
Yeah, it was cold.
That'd be funny. He's like, you know how many bodies we find in these alligators? These are real, okay?
This photo that we're showing now, this was they gave us this parking. This was in the valet area of the Chica Lodge in Isla Mirada, where we stayed. And I told the guy, I was like, "Can you put it on the charger? It only needs to be there like 4 hours to get fully charged." But it stayed there for 3 days.
You never left.
We didn't leave, and he didn't move it. So
he's like, no one else has a plug-in here.
Yeah, it got us front row parking.
Yeah, well, first he tried to plug it into the gas cap.
Well, in fairness, it has ports on both sides, and one is the gas, and one is the
That's fair.
the plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
he
so
also hadn't seen an electric car before. He
was
know what
not
to do with
familiar with how to charge an electric car.
I mean, based on what we're learning
But
about
we
how few
showed him, and now he
Prii there
knows.
are in Florida, no wonder.
But the other thing that we noticed at the Chica Lodge was the Tesla logo seems to be kind of the universal sign for charging station, which I thought was kind of interesting.
And they were not Tesla
They were not
chargers.
Tesla chargers.
They were juice box CCSs like we have in
Yeah.
our house.
But they used the Tesla T, or are they
On the
very
map.
similar?
On the maps.
on the
Oh,
map,
okay.
it used the Tesla T.
I was very fascinated by that.
Interesting.
Like,
On
Yeah.
Google Maps?
No, on
No.
on the monkey map the fucking hotel gave us. What?
do you call it that because of my family, or do you
Yeah.
also call it that?
No, is that not what it's actually called?
I don't know. I thought it was just us.
Have you ever heard that term?
The monkey map?
I hope it's not accidentally racist.
Can you explain
No,
why,
no,
where the
when you
genesis
go
is?
somewhere like a zoo or an amusement park or
No, a town. It's usually a town.
Yeah.
It's like a hand-drawn
Like the cartoon
cartoony
Yeah.
map.
Right.
Is that what are that called? That's what her
map.
If I've just learned that her family is accidentally
No,
racist
no, I
for
feel
saying
like
this,
it's
then I
because
apologize,
I'll
but I don't
text my
think
mother
so.
and ask her.
I'm just going
But
to
I
take
feel like it
myself
was-
off of the screen real quick. Let you guys do the yip beeps.
No, it definitely. I think it was because it advertised a zoo or something, and we just always called it a map. That was so sweet that you just knew a thing about my
fortunately,
family.
I don't think it's racist, but I also don't think that's what it's called.
Well, you could have gone to a zoo where they handed them out and was like, and there were like monkeys
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
And then you just kept calling it that no matter where you went.
All right. Well, I've picked up something from the Steins.
I'm really excited about that.
So it's the cartoon map. That's what I'm talking. Where here's where things are in the resort.
Yeah.
So I guess that's not what it's called.
I mean, I don't know. I just call it. Dana's beaming
My
right
heart
now.
is
For anybody
exploding.
listening, she is literally beaming and smiling.
Crazy
Now I
day
hope
of
it
my
is
life.
racist. Now,
Hanna Farah.
I'm just going to take myself off the screen again.
Florida, and the Prius. Because the Prime has the bigger battery, which is under the floor of the trunk, and the new hatch, the hatch is pretty sloped. The trunk is like a good size, and you can fold the rear seats totally flat, but the trunk doesn't have a lot of vertical.
Right, you can't pilot that high.
can't pilot
Rear
very
visibility
high.
in this is also bad.
But
you
it
use
has,
the camera.
It has the camera mirror, which
It
I
does.
don't love.
I like it in certain circumstances. I don't think it's as good a camera as GM has. I think the one you get in the Vet or Suburbans and stuff is clearer, brighter, higher res, better at night as well.
Yeah,
but it's a good solution.
I still don't love the rear camera, but I don't like this trend from Prius to Cybertruck of just going fuck a rear window. We're putting the camera, and then we don't have to design a rear window that works. I don't like that.
Well, I like having both. I mean, the first was it the first Prius, second Prius that had the split.
Yeah.
The tailgate was like a window,
Had a
and
flat
it had another
glass,
window,
yeah.
so you could see through it.
That goes back to the CRX.
I understand they probably had crash standards that they had to increase.
Maybe not. I don't know. It's probably aerodynamics more so than crash standards.
Well, getting rid of the glass on the back and making that metal in a crumple zone might be safer,
Might be cheaper.
also could be cheaper.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, this is the Prius is a lot of car for not that much money.
Yeah.
I mean, I know things that sound like a 4, affordable cars start with a 4 now, not a 3 or a 2. You know what I mean? This car, one we drove was $42,000.
I didn't look at the Maroni of mine, but I know you can get them in like the 30s.
That's not the Prime.
Yeah, but it's still
the Prime is 40.
But if it's going to ride the same and have basically the same tech and everything like that, you're still getting a good-looking car for low 30s. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you can get the same car not Prime for like $6,000 less.
Yeah.
So if you have somewhere at home to plug it in or work, then get the Prime for sure because you're driving. People commented on my Instagram they have a Prime and they're averaging like 90 miles a gallon. Which is basically what I was doing in the Volt, 100 miles a gallon by plugging it in every night. But if you don't have somewhere to plug it in, you don't want to be paying public charging with this thing.
Right.
So just get the regular one.
Yeah.
And it's the same car.
Yeah.
But like shit, so nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So nice.
It does everything really well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe I was more excited to drive the Prius than I was like the Dark Horse, or a bunch of other sports cars.
I know what you're saying because it was unexpected. We went, why are we all retweeting the Prius when the design was announced?
Yeah.
And the Dark Horse, we go, it's a fast Mustang. We've driven that before, and it feels basically the same as the Mach 1. So we'd kind of driven it before.
Right. So anyway. Anything else to add on the Prius, Han?
No, I thought it was lovely.
Okay. I'm out of notes on the Prius.
Are you guys going to get one of those instead of, because you have your Mach E lease ending?
It's in the mix, I would say. They're going to have
very
to
diplomatic.
fix the buttons.
Right,
It's
they
where
won't.
UX research comes into play.
Well, we'd program the
favorites. Do you have the same favorites?
No, but that favorites didn't have a lot. Like, one of the things I love about the Mustang is how Mach-E, the silver car, the silver Ford that we own, is how many favorites you can program, and you can mix like FM and Sirius together, which I think is fabulous.
Oh, that's nice.
As someone who constantly flicks around.
Instead of having to jump the source.
Yeah. Your favorites can be from any source.
And I don't know for sure, but it felt like it only cycled through like 6 or 7 favorites. So that would be a problem for me.
That's not enough.
But ultimately, when we were discussing this on the drive back from the Keys, you said you preferred a full EV, even if it meant a few times a year having to deal with the public chargers.
Well, have you guys ever discussed my dream car, of my dream hybrid?
Oh yeah. Go tell. Go ahead.
What?
Go
okay?
ahead. Tell what your dream
like
hybrid
me.
is.
I know. What I really want is just kind of the current hybrid, but in reverse, which is a mainly electric car with like a 2-gallon gas tank.
Would you like a BMW i3?
Is that what that is?
That's exactly what that is.
I don't think I like that car.
The problem with that is the battery is only like 80 miles.
True. No, it's what else? So you
that
want a
would
range
just give
extender?
me, it's just it eliminates the range anxiety of having a full electric car.
She wants an electric car with an emergency gas engine.
Yeah, that's all. Not a big ask.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what this is. You just want more range?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
mostly electric.
Ooh, okay. Well, Honda might use the rotary
here's
for that.
the thing. I think that if Hanna had one of these, it would be mostly electric.
Yeah.
But I think she doesn't want to plug it in every day. Right now, we plug the
I'm not
Ford
mad
in.
at that.
We plug the
I
Ford in
just-
once a week.
Well, how often do you drive more than 40 miles in a day?
Not that often. It's just it's not about any of these other logistics. It's just the range anxiety of when I do want to go far away, and like I don't trust the system, to be ready for me to plug it in or anything.
That's
Right.
infrastructure anxiety, not range anxiety.
But then, so
That's fair.
why?
That's totally fair.
Then a car like this solves that problem, obviously. Basically, this just says, I'm going to kick the engine on sooner than you might want. Like in an ideal world, it sounds like you want 200 miles of EV range and then a
An
motor,
emergency
a
50.
gas motor. Right. So
Very
we
small
go,
one.
we can't do 200, we have 40. How do you feel?
The problem is batteries take up a lot of room, as do powertrains.
Right.
So you really, unless you have a very big car, you can't have that.
Well, as we discussed, I'm quite short, and short people really
All the
like
time.
those big cars.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
crossovers.
I'm ready for this.
My friend, I advised her she's going to buy a RAV4 hybrid
Mm-hmm.
because she commutes in SF, and it's like, this is the thing. But sometimes she goes to Tahoe. Then put gas in it. So
Yeah.
you should just drive more hybrids around town, I think. And you'd find, you'd probably realize you don't need a long amount of EV range.
Fair.
Especially in
Totally
Los
fair.
Angeles, where the drives are long but not long distance. They're long time-wise, but not long distance.
Long but short, yeah.
Yeah, I spent
Totally.
an hour and 10 minutes in the car yesterday to go 16 miles.
Yeah.
I went to Santa Monica and back at 4 p.m., and it was an hour and 10 minutes round trip of driving, and it was 16 miles.
I bring up traffic a lot, and to the point now, Sarah, when we're talking about doing things, she went, you really worry about traffic, don't you? And I think,
Yeah,
well,
'cause
yeah,
it's
because it
shit.
impacts our time away from dog and people and stuff. She's like, I just want to go do the thing, and however long it takes to get there, it takes. And I'm like, really?
No.
Yeah, no, I can't think
Absolutely
like
not.
that.
No.
I drove to the Hoonigan Ken Block thing, and that was 2 hours on a, it was at 7, and I left
Downtown?
It was in like Costa Mesa.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, so I left at
Yeah.
5:15, and it said arrival 7:15, and I was worried I was going to be late.
that.
But, so I made it, but
that's called a sorry, bro. Can do.
no, I mean it's the last.
That would have been no
Thing.
can do.
Yes,
Like,
thank you.
They were debuting the Gymkhana or the Electricana
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to debut another Ken Block film, so I thought
I guess.
I can sit
Yeah.
in traffic for this. But
Yeah, it's the TRX of Gymkhana films.
what?
It's the last call. You can't. They're not going to do another one. They can't do no.
Oh, like the Ram TRX?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's their thing. Their thing is we have to put this crazy engine in because we can't make another one, which I think is a lie.
I think it would be like, I don't know, who's a filmmaker that died before they got to make the third one? Like, we'll see if the Mad Max guy makes it.
Brandon Lee.
Or, yeah, Bruce Lee, yeah.
Anyway, okay. Prius / traffic. Do you want to talk about the fucking Cybertruck?
Do you want to talk about the Cybertruck? I think
Not really, but we have to. Honestly.
yeah, I mean, we only know what we know. We haven't driven it. Very few people have.
Right.
So I think, you have the floor because
Right. So, I mean, there's, everyone likes to circulate the clip of me on Joe Rogan from 2019 where I said that they couldn't build it. So everyone can circulate this clip now where I say that was not correct because they built it. Everyone, good? We good there? Fucking Tesla freaks. They built it, okay? They've delivered 12. So it is a real thing, okay? So that was not entirely correct. I do think it's important to talk about the reasoning of why I thought that and why that wasn't correct. I thought they couldn't build that because it would be massively dangerous to pedestrians. And I said, this will never meet pedestrian crash standards. What I didn't know in 2019 is that here in the United States, we have no pedestrian crash standards. That's not a thing here. That's a thing in Europe.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what cars are tall here because of Europe?
Well, global cars.
Yeah.
And manufacturers want, some manufacturers value pedestrian safety, but there's no rule, certainly not a rule for trucks, that says you must adhere to this pedestrian standard. That's not a thing.
Well, yeah, because I mean, there's a Ram downstairs here at WCCS that is, the hood is far taller than my car.
Exactly. Exactly. So, particularly if a car is over a certain weight. I thought that because I didn't think that Tesla would invest the energy into the Cybertruck if it couldn't be a global product, right? But they did, and it's not a global product.
Right.
It can't be sold in Europe because of those pedestrian impact standards. Last year, Alex Roy told me that Elon Musk is a piece of shit and Tesla does a lot of terrible things, but you should never bet against them because he's willing to do things that other regular people aren't willing to do, like bad things.
Well, I would also say he now has a track record, like he knows manufacturing. He knows how to manufacture things. Like, you know, whatever you think about panel gaps on the Model 3s and the Ys and stuff, he has built the cars that are now the most popular in the world. And so if he has an idea of how, you know, a new vehicle, he knows how to build vehicles. So it's probably a matter of when, not if.
But I thought stupidly that if this thing won't meet standards in Europe, that they wouldn't then, they would go, well, it's not going to meet standards.
Yeah, this is only, I mean, this is.
So this is from May 2023 that they're proposing these standards, but they don't exist now.
Right, yeah, that is alarming to me.
So yeah, it's not good. So okay, fine. So I was wrong about that 4 years ago, and now here they go. They're selling them, and there's a lot of people that think that means I shouldn't be listened to about anything, and that's dumb because people aren't perfect. So obviously we haven't driven one. I watched Jason Camisa's film, all 28 minutes of it. I don't know if you know what it takes to get me to watch 28 minutes of someone else's fucking car film.
You never watch. Yeah, you don't watch car stuff.
I don't watch car shit. Yeah. Because why? Why would I? I drive the things, and I can call people if I care what they have to say. I love Jason. I think he does an amazing job presenting, and I think this was an amazingly well put together film. This was a Top Gear quality film. Jason and Anthony do an amazing job telling a story. It was really, really well shot and really well put together. Having said that, I found some problems with it. And a lot of people said, well, you need to go watch Jason's film because it's balanced. Your opinion's not balanced. His opinion's balanced. I said, okay. So I watched it. I do have some issues with it. The biggest issue that I have with it is its lack of framing, its lack of contextualizing. When you talk about Tesla, to me, I have a pretty long memory, like people in your family, Hannah. And I think when you talk about Tesla and a product, they can't really be trusted, in my opinion. They've told lots of lies. And it's important to frame it like when you're talking about Trump. You know, you can't just be like, well, Trump thinks that we should do this because it'll be better for the country. It's like, oh, you mean the guy who tried to overthrow the government thinks that, like, you can't, you have to frame the argument appropriately. Otherwise, you're actually both sidesing it in a way that's not contextually correct. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't want to ignore the track record.
I don't want to ignore the track record. Correct. It's not just like business as usual. And so a lot of the media just face values everything and doesn't talk about the track record. So Tesla is the company that is selling something called full self-driving right now for a lot of money that is not self-driving. They're being sued for the naming, the implications of both autopilot and full self-driving. And by the way, their defense of that is, well, you didn't say anything about it before. That story just came out. This
is the case in Florida, correct?
The case in Florida, the defense of those terms as not being misleading is, well, you didn't say anything about it before. So that's why it's important that our government has teeth, by the way, and uses them. Because if you let it go on an inch, they're going to take it a mile and go, well, you didn't stop me at an inch.
Right. I mean, this is the argument of regulation versus deregulation. Yeah.
Tesla took money for an unknown number of, quote, 2020 Roadsters that they have not delivered. They took $250,000 from people, and they also promised those cars as payment for using referral codes to influencers such as Marcus Brownlee for selling cars on their behalf. The whole, we don't advertise, but we have referral codes where people can win a car, or I should say earn a car that doesn't exist.
Right. They had a lot of those, and not just Marcus, right? There were blogs.
So many people.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so many people. There was over 30 EPA violations at their Fremont factory. They are majorly involved in union busting, and in fact, there's that case in Norway and Sweden right now where I believe it. I can't. Was it Norway or Sweden? Where the judge just ruled that they do have to respect collective bargaining. There's a massive strike going on over there right now. They ran in 2019 a massive Bitcoin pump and dump scam, which in fact was all of their profits for that year. They were only profitable because of that. Yeah, so there we go. That's just from
Sweden.
That's from 2 days ago in Sweden. And their range estimate, their cars never actually hit their claimed range estimates. Car and Driver, Edmunds, none of these people that have a standardized test for range, the Teslas are the only cars that don't hit them, ever.
Yeah.
They never do. And so to me, that is the context by which we have to look at the Cybertruck. It's from this company that regularly lies about shit, is selling fake product, has taken money for cars that don't exist, claims to be environmentally friendly, but their own fucking house is a mess, their Fremont factory. They've run financial scams with Bitcoin, and their cars don't hit the range that they claim. So that's the framing that I use when looking at a new Tesla product. People could, I suppose, disagree, but those things are not actually in dispute. Those are facts. You can choose to ignore them if you want, which, in my opinion, is what Jason did in his video. He didn't provide that context.
Yeah, I think he analyzed the truck, not the company.
Right, okay. So let's see. In the acceleration runs, the drag racing that he did with the Cybertruck, he said that the Cybertruck is the first EV that will go as fast with a low battery as with a full one. Both the Taycan Turbo S and the Rimac Nevera will do that. So that's not actually true. First Tesla, yes, but not the first EV.
Yeah, the Taycan would do it down to like 15% or something, right?
The Taycan does it, and the Rimac will do it to 0. All those records that the Rimac set in one day, they did that on one battery. He made a coefficient of drag comparison of the Cybertruck, and he compared it to cars like the Bugatti Chiron and other cars. I think that's apples to oranges because supercars make downforce. And a car that makes downforce inherently has drag.
Yeah, I think it depends on if when he was writing it, was he going for the interesting stat? Because we do that a lot. We're like, this is as slippery as a Countach.
I agree. He's going for the stat, but he's not. He didn't. He admitted that the Rivian was more slippery.
Right. Yeah.
Which okay.
Yeah.
But he compared it to cars that are not known for being slippery. They're known for making downforce.
Yeah, I think the general public thinks that supercars are slippery.
Right, which is wrong.
Which is incorrect.
He commented on Tesla's lowering their prices as if they were doing it because they were finding efficiencies in marketing, without saying that they were lowering their prices because their sales were way down and they've got old product. So I disagree with the framing of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's clear that that's market forces. It's not altruism.
Right, correct. It's not altruism. It's not that they're finding cheaper ways to build the Model S or the Model 3 either.
Right, like
they're not. He implied they're passing the savings on to you.
No. Like the whole country is in a semi-recession. Interest rates are up. People are buying fewer things, and because they had such good profit margin, they could lower their prices and still make money.
Yeah, I think he downplayed the role that 48-volt mild hybrids have had for the last 3 years.
Right. So I looked into that a little bit that day, and I discussed it with Jason Fensky on Twitter. Audi introduced 48-volt in the A8 in 2017 and then rolled it out into subsequent models. And like the new Range Rover, when I drove it, a lot of cars now have 48-volt anti-roll bar stuff, and it's more and more common. So I asked David Tuig, our sort of friend, former lead engineer for Renault Alpine, and I said, hey, would you do an article about why this is or is not important? Because I'm very curious, because cars like the Taycan still has a 12-volt battery running some things and then uses its big battery for a lot of other things. So, Jason said that this is a huge game changer. Tesla says it's a huge game changer. I want to know why, if that's true, is it so necessary for all the systems? And I know there's copper benefits, and there are systems that require more voltage. I guess Caterpillar's starting to use it. John Deere is starting to use 48-volt in place of hydraulic stuff because you can run more powerful electric motors. But do we need it for everything? I don't know.
And it is the first, Cybertruck is the first EV to use it. But I think in the film, Jason downplayed the role that it's had in hybrids so far.
I think he said
it's been used for some bits here and there.
Yes.
Which
this is the first one, if I'm remembering him correctly, that said it's the only thing the car uses. It's not using 12-volt and 48 or anything in between.
Right. This isn't incorrect necessarily, his opinion on steer-by-wire, but I massively disagree with his opinion on steer-by-wire. I think steer-by-wire is bad. I don't think that there should be no mechanical connection between the steering and the wheels. I think if that system fails, there is no fallback. And so throttle-by-wire, if it fails, the car will coast to a stop. Brake-by-wire systems have a manual backup. But steer-by-wire, there is no backup. So I don't actually think it's good. Jason did claim that the Cybertruck is the first production car with steer-by-wire. That's not true. Infiniti had it 3 years ago.
They had it, but as some people pointed out, it still had a shaft attached to it.
So that's probably for the best.
So this is the first steer-by-wire that has no physical connection to the front wheels.
I think that's bad. I don't, and based on what I know about Tesla, I don't trust them to have the redundancies in place to make that system safe.
Well, I think that'll be a question that we will get the answer to in the future. Is as Toyota's developing it, Lexus is developing it. Are they, have they run enough tests where this doesn't fail? Because if throttle by wire and brake by wire, and he referenced airplanes, which is somewhat valid. Like, if they can build these things robust enough that they don't fail, then is it no longer a concern? My question is...
Almost no cars are built to the rigorous process of
aircraft, because aircraft
are
very expensive.
Certainly not fucking Teslas.
But I'm saying, if brake-by-wire exists, and it does, throttle-by-wire is everywhere, are we just entering a world where the electronic motors and systems are strong enough, robust enough, reliable enough that this isn't an issue? My question is, why are engineers excited about steer-by-wire? Like, what do they want to do with this space? Like, why do they want to disconnect the front wheels and the steering wheel?
Probably efficient. It's probably, you don't have to turn any kind of a pump.
Well, you still have to turn. You still have to turn the wheels. So you still have an electric motor,
right?
Like probably rack and pinion that rotates and turns the screw and turns the wheels.
But there's no like force feedback motor like a power steering pump.
Well, he said on the Curmudgeon podcast, you do get force feedback. It's manufactured.
But it's like video game force
right,
feedback.
So there's still a motor against the wheels saying, here's what the wheels feel like.
Yeah.
I think you save parts because you don't have the steering shaft anymore. But like, I'm kind of with you. I just want to know why there's a benefit to going to full steer-by-wire other than they have this infinitely adjustable ratio where you can just turn a little bit in a parking lot and it turns all the way. Like that seems like the only benefit.
Yeah, I don't think that's good either. That's a difference of opinion.
I think you'd get used to it.
I don't like shit you have to get used to. I want the car to come to the driver. I don't want the driver to have to go to the car.
But you have to get used to driving like old sports cars. Like you got to do this. You got
to drive old sports cars. You shouldn't have to get used to driving new shit. New shit should work for around the human and not the other way around.
I think their hope is that this optimizes steering for the human. So now the human doesn't have to do hand over hand. They get used to just piloting it, with the input they need. And then, but I think there's a learning curve because you go, okay, how much does it turn the front wheels at 1 mile an hour, 5, 10, all that stuff. I don't know. I have to try it.
I mean, that's a difference of opinion, but I do not trust steer-by-wire, period, and I certainly don't trust Tesla to do it. I maybe trust Toyota to do it, but I definitely don't. They don't have a history. They have a history of putting out some pretty janky shit, and they have a history of ignoring redundancies. They're talking about camera-only autonomy.
Yeah, true.
There's no redundancy. So the company that is throwing redundancy out the window now wants to take the mechanical steering connection away? Fuck that. I am anti that. However, let's see. There's some other things that were not right in his film. He straight-faced says that the Model S got a 5.4 out of 5 in crash testing. NHTSA immediately disputed that and said there is no such thing as a 5.4. 5 is the highest thing that we offered.
Where did that score come from? Did Tesla build their own crash machine and then say that it?
Yeah, it wasn't based on nothing. It wasn't pulled out of thin air. The Model S was and is a very safe car in a crash, but they used some combination of math that is not actually how it works. And they made those claims. And yeah, there we go. The Verge, this is way back. This is an old story. 2013. So that's back.
Sorry, that's when Tesla said they got a 5.4. Was 2013.
Yeah, that's when. When this story was. But Jason parroted the 5.4 thing like it's real, and it's not. So I have.
It says it's a combined record. It's just math they made up.
It's cherry picked math. It's not actually what. It's not actually how the math works. So that's what I'm saying. Jason also said that the Tesla Model Y is the best-selling car in the world, which it is not. And if you want to pull up my computer as a source.
It is now.
Here's 2022. It is the 4th best-selling car in the world. It is the best-selling EV, but the Ford F-Series pickup truck, the Toyota RAV4, and the Corolla are ahead of it by a lot. And then if you look at 2023... Is my computer still up, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
It is, if we go all the way down, it is still, it is the 4th best for 2023. It's, I don't know why that's listed, why two are listed, the RAV4 and the Tesla. It's actually the 5th best. Somebody wrote that wrong. 5th best for 2023. So that is not an actual truth there. And he calls it, Jason calls it bulletproof multiple times. James Gilboy for The Drive debunked that claim and wrote a very long article about it. While they did shoot some things at it, like a Tommy gun.
And Tommy gun, MP5, and I think a shotgun.
Right. So I recommend reading James Gilboy's piece on The Drive. Why does that say...
Well, that's what I'm not trying to argue with your stat on this, because there was a story that when your response and to Jason's statement about the sales is because a lot of people were reporting that the Model Y was the best-selling car in the world, and then there's Reddit posts saying, "Is this actually true?" Because there's people, like
I get
yourself,
a lot of stuff off of
it.
Statista, which is a very good website, but this says that is not correct, and this Car and Driver one is as of October. But the article you have up on Green Cars is from August.
Well, would green cars be only electric cars?
Possibly.
Maybe that's...
Right. I mean, that may be where there's
there might be an
asterisk on this.
Yeah,
this
you can
article
torture
is
data
using, this
for a very
article
long
is using
time.
first quarter.
Okay, so 2023 first quarter numbers.
Yeah.
The Model Y outsold the Corolla. Wow, it's close. Less than 11,000 unit difference. Model Y and Corolla selling well in China.
I couldn't find anything newer than this October.
Are all of these cars
20,
available in all of the countries? Like, is this also a matter of like manufacturing?
The cars on the these are global lists. Yeah.
But so it's only cars among only cars that are sold globally in all the same countries.
Interesting.
I mean, there's definitely some places where the Ford F-150 is not sold,
Right.
but even if it sells enough in America that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know. Green Cars agrees that the best-selling vehicle in 2022 was the Corolla.
So
and then they're saying first quarter of 2023, the Model Y outsold it by 10,600 units globally.
Q1. So in how many units is that? 267?
This is Model Y, 267,000 globally.
Car and Driver says 284,500 as of October. But it also has the F-Series, the Silverado, and the Ram up there. The Corolla is way down. The Corolla doesn't actually appear on this list.
Well, I wonder...
the Corolla is number 13.
Well, so this says best-selling car, so that may
so this is best-selling.
trucks.
Yeah, this is best-selling everything.
Yeah.
Cars, trucks, and SUVs is this list on Car and Driver.
That's all vehicles, basically, that list. And then this is just cars.
Okay. So I suppose if you cherry pick and you don't consider the RAV4 a car, it's a crossover.
Right.
It's a crossover for sure.
Yeah, sure. What do you want? How far?
I was just interested in it says the data in the article is based on vehicle registrations. I wanted to see if there was anything more.
By the way, let me just say, if the RAV4 is a crossover, so's the Model Y. I think it's extremely cherry picky to say that a RAV4 is a crossover and a Model Y is not.
Yeah, I agree, because the Y was meant to be a crossover.
So if you're going to say the Model Y is anything, statistically speaking, then the RAV4 has to be considered.
Well, this has CRV on it. It has Silverado. RAV4 is on this list also.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, but it has trucks.
This also has trucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think this is only using quarter one of 2023.
Yeah. I disagree on the characterization.
Basically, it depends on the timeline. If you say it was the best-selling car of the year, you have to specify 2020 which year.
This fucking story came out December 1. And
right.
And he works for a company that has the data on this, by the way.
And they're always looking at units, not dollars.
He works for an insurance company. They have the data on this.
Well, it depends. I mean, they could look at sales. They could look at money, or they could look at number of cars. They usually go by number of cars.
I would say units.
That's what all the truck competitions are like the most selling truck in America, not the most expensive truck in America.
Yeah.
Most sold, not most selling.
I like the idea of they get together for that competition.
No, they don't, but it's in all the ads.
Yes, exactly.
Whoever's
big difference in advertisement versus
more Americans chose super truck over other super truck.
And also, he talks a lot about acceleration, and he does not talk about braking.
True.
I really, I think, and if you want, we can look at this. I've got another story up right now that is based in response to a trolley tweet, but basically, the Center for Auto Safety, which is the organization founded by Ralph Nader, has expressed a lot of concern about the Cybertruck. Basically, that it is very fast and very heavy. And that's what we've said about the Hummer Electric and Rivian and other very fast and very heavy vehicles. But with the shape of it and the quote cold rolled steel exterior, if you hit a person, it's going to cause a massive amount of damage. The faster it accelerates, the faster a driver would need to react, and the more important your braking is in that situation. I have some doubts about that, but it says let's see, hang on. Hang on, sorry, I didn't scroll down enough. Two problems, Mr. Brooks says from the Center for Auto Safety. Inherent in virtually all current and planned large electric trucks and XUVs are extreme weight and acceleration. Faster acceleration means less reaction time for drivers, while added weight means that the injuries will be more significant when crashes inevitably occur. When Elon said at the launch event, if you get into an accident with something else in a Cybertruck, you're going to win. The framing of that is heinous.
It's not the best statement from a PR standpoint.
Because it implies all kinds of things. Like, so what happened? So you win. What does win mean? It means that you've massively injured or destroyed this other car and whatever's inside of it.
I mean, it's excellent marketing, but it's a broy way to say it's the safer vehicle. But I think, like, is it going to crumple as much as, modern trucks right now have a lot of plastic. Modern cars in general. Like, you can press on the grill of an F-150 and it will move. It's not because it is cheaper than metal, but it's because it is softer, and that's the beginning of the crumple zone. It's all a spring.
Yeah.
This doesn't have as much spring.
Yeah.
So the person inside is going to get slammed into the airbag harder, probably.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's going to be safer or more dangerous.
That
from
energy
that
will be transferred to whatever you hit.
Right. I mean, I'm sure it has crumple zones in it, designed into the metal, but Jason did say in his video, like, it feels extremely solid, which could be detrimental to crashing. And some of the edges are sharp. Him and Anthony both cut their arms, or Anthony cut his jacket and Jason cut his arm on one of the corners.
Right. So Ralph Nader would talk about that.
Right. So are those things going to get changed before it goes to production is a question.
The production photos look just like it. I mean, those are some nasty looking corners.
Or it'll be in the update after
Of course,
a year.
also Mr. Brooks says there's two uniquely troubling factors. The ultra-hard, cold-rolled stainless steel exterior, which they reason is much less forgiving than other modern vehicles. It may stop a bullet and Joe Rogan's arrow, but what happens when it strikes a human body? Less yield, more energy transfer, resulting in enhanced injuries is the most likely answer. Elon is generally correct when he says if you have an argument with another car, you will win, as long as, quote, winning means inflicting life-threatening damage to other humans on the road without corresponding damage to the occupants of Cybertruck. Whether there are sufficient crumple zones to protect those inside the vehicle who may be exposed to heightened crash forces due to the lack of crush area to distribute the energy transmitted. If you have a wall with if you have an argument with a wall or a large truck, chances are the occupants of the Cybertruck will not win. Furthermore, the last potentially disastrous variable, Brooks says, is that the truck is equipped with Tesla's, quote, full self-driving features, which are anything but and remain unsafe, unproven, and untrustworthy, which I agree with. So here's the crash test I'd really like to see. Cybertruck versus Model S, head on.
Why? Why?
Because the Model S is so safe, in no small part, because it has fantastic crumple zones. So, because there's no engine, right? There's a amazing. The frunk is an amazing crumple zone. The car will get fucked up, but the people won't be hurt. So the truck is designed like an old brick Volvo, where it's hard and tough.
Right.
But that was later. Modern cars are not built like that. They're built to crumple. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to crumple. They're supposed to give. And so, and yeah, if you hit somebody with an EV Hummer or a fucking TRX or a 2500, they're going to get fucked up too. But I think it's an in-your-face example of I don't give a fuck about anything outside of this car. And I don't like that. That's a personal opinion that I don't like that, but I think it's a terrible trend we've got ourselves on. Pedestrian and cyclist deaths are way up since 2009. They were decreasing, and then sharply up. And there's cell phone use and there's all that kind of stuff that go hand in hand with that. But big SUVs, tall hood heights, and I think this is just making that worse, not better.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It is definitely not the safest vehicle, or at least it doesn't appear to be from the perspective of anybody on the outside. And even inside of it, we'll see. Like, I'm curious when NHTSA does testing with the crash dummies with all the instruments, are the people inside getting hit with more force by airbags and whatnot because there's less crumpling happening?
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm sure I'll find some way to drive one eventually. But I also don't think that I don't think it's going to help the environment. Jason made comparisons in his video to a DeLorean and an LM002, which are fun comparisons with this thing. But they ignore two things about both the DeLorean and the LM002, which is they were massive failures. They were niche products and massive failures. There are a lot of lessons in the DeLorean that are not learned by Tesla. The stainless steel was actually bad. Right. Yeah. They tried. I thought they might learn it because the fucking Falcon Wing doors on the Model X are garbage, and they tried to do a DeLorean thing there. DeLorean, they didn't sell a lot of cars. The company was out of business in 2 years. The LM002, I think they built 600 trucks total, and that was a military project, and that thing was built before anyone was really concerned about safety or anything.
Yeah, but but there's clearly more interest in the Tesla Cybertruck based on the deposits, the number of deposits made, than the LM002.
Sure, but a mass production vehicle being compared to these sort of niche, weird failure products is sort of strange, and I don't think it's the right comparison.
I think it depends
on... well, why are all trucks shaped the same way? Well, it's because they have to serve a function. So I don't think the Cybertruck is going to pull people who use a truck for work into that.
I don't think it'll pull many, and I hope if people are listening and they're contractors or whatever, they respond, because a lot of trucks nowadays offer 240 volt in the bed. We had that F-150 with the power boost system. Ram does it now. Whether you get a Lightning or the gas truck with the power boost setup, you can run a welder out of every truck, out of a truck from every manufacturer now, which I think is a fucking brilliant system. Great, and I'm assuming that it's really beneficial to people on job sites. So I don't think this truck invented that whole thing at all.
I mean, a truck is shaped like it is because it's a utility tool.
Yeah, I don't think this is a truck. I think this is a ute. I think this is a crossover with a bed. The bed is a strange shape. They didn't put anything in it. Whatever, people will do that later. It's like the Hyundai Santa Cruz I drove.
Yeah,
that had a really short bed, which makes it fairly useless if you want to transport a dirt bike or mountain bikes, unless you want to have them hanging over the tailgate. This will be the same thing. It will transport activity shit in the back, but you can't see out of it. You have to close the tonneau cover to lock your things up. You can't see it. Then you don't get to see out of the window. You have to use the camera. There's a lot of compromises you make compared to a normal truck or something like the Rivian.
Right.
So I don't think it reinvents the pickup truck. I think it takes a lot of elements that are common in crossovers and just puts a bed on it.
But I think the problem is they're not going to convert pickup truck drivers into a more efficient vehicle. What they're going to do is they're going to convert Tesla Model S drivers into a less efficient vehicle, into a heavier and more wasteful and less efficient vehicle, which is bad for society.
If you own a Model S and a TRX, this is for you.
Yeah,
I understand that market force.
But that's against Tesla's stated mission. If they're trying to be efficient and they're trying to save the fucking world, a 6,800-pound truck that pulverizes pedestrians is not the same company that sold the Model S.
Right, but I think this is like the Model X didn't really do that. It was super heavy, and yeah, it was very slippery, but it was a really, really heavy vehicle. you know, if you hit someone with that, it's going to hurt them very, very much. So I think this is just a bro-y version of that vehicle.
I just think that that's bad for the society.
Sure, but I think I agree, and I'm not surprised they made it because people were excited about it, and it caters to a group of people that want something that looks like this but feels like a Model S. It's going to drive like the Model S does, rear steer, all that shit. It's going to feel like that, and it's going to steer quick and handle fine, but it looks like
these people
a space gun.
These are going to be the fucking biggest asshole drivers on the road are going to be driving these things. Because if it has this really quick steering ratio and all this power and no visibility and a fucking and the attitude of if we get into a crash, I'm fucking you up and not the other way around.
But on the other hand, if they dent one of those panels, you can't fix it. So I think people might be really careful.
No, they won't.
I think
not
they will.
until they crash one. The first in the beginning, they won't know. Wait until they start crashing.
But all it takes is it's going to take the first person that takes delivery that bumps into something will then post photos, and maybe it'll take a long time to repair it or get a new panel, whatever. Like that story will go around the earth very quickly, and I think then you'll have people that will be very scared of denting their Cybertruck because they're like, fuck, it's how long to get a new panel?
Dude,
you can't repair this at the shop?
They can't get panels for their regular cars.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree. I know.
It's going to be a real problem.
Right. And it may be...
Stainless steel is a bad material for cars. Trust me, I owned a DeLorean.
I know. I know.
It is
and that's
not
why
good.
The ones that have paint on them are because they didn't want to pay for the whole new panel. Yeah, it's a terrible material for a car in terms of its serviceability. It looks cool and it's strong, but if you dent it, like you have to wait for a new panel. Which body shop is going to have it? There's already long waiting lists or there were for a while to get your regular Tesla repaired.
Yeah, no. It could take a very long time to get a Tesla fixed if you have to replace a bumper or a hatch or something right now.
If Tesla wants to sell you the new panel instead of making it repairable, is that a new revenue stream for them, or an additional revenue stream?
If it's an insurance scam. I mean, if they're assuming insurance is going to pay for it because nothing is under the deductible.
I read an article about that, and there are companies now that have popped up to be insurance advocates for people because a lot of insurance companies don't want to pay the costs that Tesla's charging to repair your Model 3 or Model S. And
well, they're crazy expensive to insure. They're among the most expensive cars to insure on the road because of this. Because they know if you fuck one up, it's going to be crazy money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think... some of this will remain to be seen, but like, I don't think it moves society in the right direction. I think the very concept of doing a cyberpunk vehicle doesn't understand what cyberpunk is trying to say. It's a warning, not a fucking thumbs up.
Yeah, but like with this, it's an aesthetic design. They go, well, what if we made a car that looked like it's from 2085 based on things we've seen in movies? And if you build that, people go, oh, wow, and it excites the part of our brain that was 9 and watched RoboCop.
People don't understand that movie props and real cars are different for a fucking reason. People are so dumb.
But I think we want our cars to look like movie props or look super cool. I mean, look at Koenigsegg. When that rolled out, it was, what the fuck? We have seen so many supercars, and that was a totally different design. Wraparound windshield, looked really special and really interesting.
Sure, but... extremely niche product, millions of dollars, single or double digit units sold.
Right. But psychologically, it excited people. And now you have something that excites people that doesn't cost $2.6 million. So, of course, I mean, you're going to sell a ton of them.
Yeah, I don't think that the person doing that should be like heralded as the savior of humanity because it's actually accelerating the decline.
Well, I think the thing with this truck is there's like 3 different discussions you can have. You can have how does the truck perform? And I think Jason addressed some of that well, and I think he missed on some things. And then there is what does the company do? And do we like what they're doing? And then it's like, what does it say about society in general? Or, those are like...
Right, but companies have a choice, right? Companies can build things that are good for society or build things that are bad for society. And they ultimately either know or they don't, and no one's told them. Like Model S Tesla, 2013, despite the bullshit with the safety ratings... that I believe that company that existed then was trying to do good for society. Now I do not. Now I think that what they're building now is feeding an us versus them mentality. You're with me, or if we get into an argument on the road, we're gonna win.
I think they're building memes and money. I think they're going what will sell well and is entertaining. Because like Elon has demonstrated, he just wants to entertain himself a lot of times, and he can build a vehicle that will entertain him that will also entertain a lot of people. And I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I guess. I think that it's bad for the world.
I think a lot of companies that do things that are bad for the world.
Yeah.
And most of them just go. Most of them don't give a shit. They just want to make money.
Sure, but I think if I'm going to sit here and call myself a journalist, then I feel a responsibility to go, this is bad for the world.
I mean, I think the TRX was bad for the world.
I said that too.
Yeah.
A lot of people got real fucking mad. And I've said every time we've driven a super heavy electric truck that goes really fast, I've said that's bad for the world.
I agree.
My third or second to last post before fucking quitting Twitter was, for the record, all 7,000-pound electric vehicles are bad.
Yeah, that's why we're pro-hybrid. It just makes way more sense.
And you know, encouraging people to drive the smallest vehicle that will suit their need, the lightest vehicle that will suit their need, the most efficient and least mineral and intensive vehicle that will suit their need, I feel like is our responsibility.
I agree with you.
And you can still have really fun cars. There's still plenty of fun cars that fall in that thing. But if you're driving an enormous truck, you're taking up space that is supposed to be shared with other people. You're putting your own personal safety inside this vehicle far ahead of the safety of whatever you might hit.
Yeah, and I think most people.
I think that's bad.
I mean, it started in the '90s with SUVs.
Yeah,
and that's where it began.
Yeah. And whenever I say something like that, some fucking guy goes, well, my wife drives a Suburban because if she's going to hit something, I want her to be fine. It's like, well, do you feel anything for the person that she hits?
People will always care more about themselves than other people. And I'm not trying to say that
I'm not saying that I want to die in a car crash so that the other person can live. But there is a whole lot of gray area in between that. If you drive a smaller, lighter car and you hit something, you're going to do less damage to that person and cause less injury to yourself.
Right. I think this is why you need organizations like NHTSA, because humans will make individual choices that advance their own interest or protect their own interest the most. And then you need an objective body to just look at data and go, okay, way more pedestrians are dying now. Then they contact the OEMs and say, do what Europe does, you need pedestrian crash standards now. Yeah. Because you guys are making what the people want to buy, and the people will just buy things that are ultimately too dangerous for people around them.
I think it's we need to have a government that actually does something, that actually goes, this is very dangerous, and and there's a chart, the pedestrian death chart is like crazy how fast it goes up.
Yeah, it's back up to, where did I put it in response? Some guy incorrectly said that they were lower than ever, and it's like they're actually back up to the level they were in 1981 or something. Like the highest they've been in 40 years. Or the lowest they've been in 100, if you want to look at it that way. Hannah, your thoughts.
Here we go. If you would like to see the chart, Zach, you can make my computer
the
source right now. This article is May of 2020. So it's a couple of years old, but U.S. pedestrian deaths highest level in 30 years. So they were. Hannah, you want to look at this chart?
I mean, maybe people shouldn't walk so much. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe we
if
should
everyone
have
was in a car.
Yeah,
if everyone was in their own personal car.
They were asking for it.
Yeah.
Wow, Hannah. Wow.
So they were the low was 2009, 4,100, and it's now 2020. They're up to 6,590. Do we have 2023? Let's see.
That's 2022.
So lagging indicator.
Oops, not standards. That's wrong. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh, we had that stat.
I think, Zach, what you were saying before just about the psychology of it all is even like back when I was at Mattel and we were doing research on Hot Wheels, with kids, with, young kids, and we would talk to them about like, why do you like this car over the others? The answer was always because it looks fast. And that was just what it was. It wasn't, because it looks like it could do well for society. It was always just, it looks fast.
Yeah.
And we grow up just thinking those same things. Even a few years ago when I did the research for Toyota, it was the same. Like, here's all these amazing features. Here's the safety features. Here's, the technological features. And it comes down to, like, that one's the prettiest.
Right.
I'll take
it's
it.
like, what does it make us feel?
Yeah.
I think. So we could make us feel
that
cool,
from us
fast, or safe, or superior, or tough, or whatever. I mean, that's why I think a lot of people are drawn to big trucks with tires. It's like it feels like a part of their personality. It feels tough.
It says something about who you are.
Right.
So 2019, it was 6,590. Okay. 2022, 7,500.
Oh, that's a huge jump.
That's a huge jump. It's up 70. Pedestrian deaths are up 77% since 2010. And it's the highest it's been in 41 years. So, and then there's some further data here. 7,508 pedestrian deaths nationwide. That's in 2022. 77% happened after dark. Let's see.
That is not an excuse.
Passenger cars accounted for the most crashes, but deaths involving SUVs increased at a faster rate. The driver's sight lines are not nearly as good, blah, 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 etc. 69% of pedestrian fatalities happen in places with no sidewalks, up from 59% in 2017. Speeding involved in 8%. 60% happened on non-freeway arterial roads, which have more traffic and higher speed. 18% happened on freeways, including those involving stranded motorists and first responders. Shocking, racial and ethnic minorities bear a growing burden in traffic deaths. Jesse Singer, who wrote There Are No Accidents, is going to come on the podcast and talk about that.
I think January she's booked. Right?
Yeah. And let's see. Someone from NHTSA said, one of the big things is that there's been a historic and systemic underinvestment in infrastructure of these communities of color, things like sidewalks, lighting, crosswalks, slowing speeds, road designs that slow down drivers and force vehicles to go at speeds that are safer for pedestrians, something I agree with. And yeah, that's it. All the progress lost over the past 30 years, we have lost that.
It's that interesting discussion of if the infrastructure is not going to support people, then the private market has to do the job. And the private market is you have to sell cars that don't kill people as easily when you hit them with your car.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, that's that. I have absolutely nothing else to say about the Cybertruck until I drive one.
We'll Turo one.
Yeah, it's gonna be so expensive. Turo one.
It will.
Fucking $3,000 or something. It'll be so dumb.
Well, eventually they'll be so common, it'll probably be a lot less.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Are there questions, or do we want to? We have a bunch, or we have a few.
I think there's a reasonable amount. I would say.
Okay, let's see if we can get through some because I'm gone for the rest of the week.
They're all for Hannah.
Yeah. David Bodenstein says, since you guys live in California where this is particularly relevant, do you think tractor trailers are becoming more and more of a rolling roadblock with how fast modern cars are? I think it should be like Europe where tractor trailers have to stay in the right lane.
They mostly do, though. I think people are the roadblock.
I mean, I think probably other regular cars are more so than trucks, but there are definitely places. Where do we just go? Where are we just driving, Hen?
Florida.
Florida actually wasn't as bad in terms of that. But
you think Tennessee?
Tennessee. We were driving from Atlanta to Tennessee, where it was a 2-lane freeway and lots of trucks passing each other at 1 mile an hour differentials.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
That is annoying. I understand that they have efficiency, like they set their crews or whatever it is, but I think there's a way bigger problem nationally with people camping in the left lane, and it's so much of a problem that there's laws now in some states that it's a ticketable offense.
Yeah.
So, and they're not ticketing. I assume they're not ticketing lots of trucks. They probably didn't write the law for that.
Yeah.
It's for assholes.
Gunnar Ray says, if you each got a Cosworth GMA V12 in a crate, what would you put it in?
Something small.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's kind of a long engine, right?
Find a way to put it in my 328.
That would be so sick. I put in like a Noble or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see.
No, Jaguar. We would do it.
Oh,
put in that.
Oh, in an XJS.
XJS.
Yeah, that would be excellent. I think that Zach is right. Dustin says, do you think Spiker could be reborn and have an SUV to be sustainable, or an electric Spiker? I think it's very hard to start a car company right now, and I think Spiker didn't get the ed. I think they had their shot, and it didn't work out, unfortunately. The cars are really cool. Jamie Kitman just wrote a fucking humdinger of a piece about the Fisker Ocean for Road and Track that is worth your read. I didn't write anything because we got one for a day. And it was supposed to be for a week, but it was only for a day. I said, come get this thing.
It sunk.
It was no bueno.
Ocean, get it. It's not great.
Wasn't your best work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You find the best by just sifting through everything.
Yeah. Choonhound says, why do automatic watches dominate the marketplace if mechanical engagement is a major motivation behind owning mechanical watches? Shouldn't watch people prefer the extra level of engagement that manual winding offers? I hear your point, but not necessarily. I mean, there are a lot of manual winding watches, but most manual winding watches don't have the water resistance that automatic watches do because they don't typically have a locking crown. My Speedmaster doesn't. The Weiss watch doesn't.
Definitely doesn't.
So I think a lot of people, even those who want a mechanical engagement, would usually go for water resistance versus manual winding.
Also, engagement, I mean, we use that word a lot with manual transmissions, but like winding your watch for 48 seconds.
Yeah.
Is not worth the trade-off of not having to wind it and having the convenience of an automatic watch. Like, that sensation, I'm not like, oh, yeah. Like, I like it. I really like the Weiss manual watch. It's cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, trade-off.
I think there's no generalization there. There are some. Jeremy Clarkson wrote a whole thing about how he likes his manual wind watch because he's 60 now and has nothing else to do, which I think is funny. And there's people that love the idea of waking up and winding their watch, and that's cool. But I don't think we can. I don't think you can generalize the entire watch community. I think we covered Alejandro's there. Justin says, thinking about a Cayman for a daily in the Bay Area. Love the idea and sound of the GTS, but it's pretty much 50% more than what a Cayman S goes for. Is the GTS worth the premium, or is it not worth that much of an increase? I think it is because it's a 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
You probably lose less money on it.
It'll hold its value better also. So you pay more up front, you'll get more on the back end. But, yeah. Dean is looking to replace his M140 hatch with either an M2 Competition or 997 Carrera S. Let's see. A lot of words here, sorry. Concerned about back seat space. Should I just accept that I'm going to have to drive my family wagon more often and get the Porsche, or should I get the M2 to drive it more often like I currently do with my 1 Series? That's a you question, but I know lots of people with young kids who put them in the back seat of sports cars.
Yeah.
I mean, a 5-year-old can probably fit just fine in the back seat of a 911.
For a while, for sure, unless he's really, really tall.
Hannah, when do you stop using car seats?
Me personally?
No, like
when will you stop?
Like kids, when do kids stop using car seats?
It's a weight thing, not an age thing.
Okay.
Oh.
Usually when they're like 6.
So Thad's kid's already out of car seats. Kid's 80 pounds and benches 200.
But they go from like the full car seat to a booster seat,
right,
and so on. So
it
really depends on the girth of the child.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a you question. Do you want a car that you can drive more because your kid can fit better in the back, or do you want a car that's like more special feeling?
I would get the more special one.
Yeah.
And then it'll feel more special when you drive it because you'll drive it a little bit less than the M2.
And you'll probably find a way to fit the kid in the back.
For a while.
Levi Sinclair says, Oh, I was talking about how when I used to sell drugs, I spent my cash on guitars and systems for my cars. Knowing what I know now, 20 years later, if I had the chance to go back and tell him what to spend that money on, what would he buy? What would I tell myself 20 years ago to buy? Fucking Rolexes, all Rolexes.
I would just buy like Amazon stock.
I mean, yeah, assuming you're not stock, but yeah, Apple stock.
Yeah.
But like, it's drug money, so you're not buying stocks with drug money.
Buy 997 Porsches.
I mean,
or old G bodies.
If I had bought, I could have probably quadrupled my money, if not more, if I had bought all steel Rolexes back then. But it's also important when you're a kid and you get that kind of money to get that sort of spending out of your system. You know,
because
now I know a little better. I'd hope so anyway. Ish, but like yeah, but like
cars and fixture frames.
It was important to framing. Now I'm saying
oh my god, framing.
Okay. Oh, house question, Hen.
Yes.
House question. Bud 215 is moving out of Philly and is house hunting. Already combing through Zillow. My wife would like to buy a house, hire a contractor, and make it our own. I say buy one that's already done. Can you speak on your experience? What do you look for in picking the right house, and how did the contractor know what you wanted? I don't think there's any house that is totally going to be exactly what you want. So it's just like, do you want to do a little bit of work or a lot of work? There's so few houses that are like perfect move-in ready. Everything. You always want to change like a little something.
But at the same time, I mean, when Matt and I bought our house, when we walked into that house, I hated it. And Matt was able to look at it and say, like, there's great potential here. And I'm so literal that I was just like, nope, it's only, you know, these yellow walls and these red tiles and, like, this is it. And so it really comes down to your ability to envision what you're going to want and need.
Right.
Especially if you know, like I have friends that are architects that have renovated their own houses because they know, well, we have a beam here, we can take out this wall, it'll still be safe. So they go, we can open this whole room up without having to call a contractor and ask, what can we do with this place?
Yeah, and also like contractors, a good contractor is gold. You got a good contractor, that's a clutch move, and our contractor was incredible. But a contractor doesn't always have a vision or understand your vision. And so it's also important, if you're not a designer, to work with a designer that can help with your vision and maybe provide some of their own. You know, Sarah and Webb, who did our house, they had a vision that they worked with us with, and they did these 3D renderings so we could see what it was going to look like and make changes, and then it was easy for the contractor to complete it. If you
But Sarah and Webb also knew us, and that was, it was so lucky. You know, we weren't hiring someone and trying to explain who we were and what our lifestyle was like. You know, they'd been to our house. Remember when they were at the Venice house and I was making them a cup of coffee and I had to climb up on the counter and then stand up to reach the mugs, and they were able to be like, right, we're never doing that.
Notes, don't do that.
And they know that I was I'm so sensitive to textures. They took me out to touch door handles, you know. So we were very lucky, I think, with that level of someone who knows us that well.
And I think that's also a budget discussion for somebody.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And if you can't afford a personal designer and stuff, do a lot of research. There's probably tons of YouTube videos and TikTok videos guiding you through, like, here's what's possible with a home. Here's things you can open up. Here's an architectural style from the 50s that can be changed and modernized based on these things, you know? Like what's it called? Open concept. That's like what everyone wants to do now is just knock all the walls down, see everything.
Well, that's what we did.
You did.
We turned 3 rooms into 1. Yeah. But it also depends on like if you're looking through Zillow and you find a house that's done and you can afford it. I mean, that's nice, you know, or so it depends on what you find. Also.
And it's how much time you have. You know, we were very lucky that we could live in the Venice house while we redid the new house, you know, but like if we tried to move into the new house and renovate it at the same time, that would have been a disaster.
It would have been horrible.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because it was 2 years, so it was a real problem.
Yeah.
So It's great now.
And I can only have so much sawdust in my hair before it starts to mess around with things.
Yeah, it's good now. Last one, James Carville. Hannah, what was your favorite Mattel toy? Because Hannah used to work at Mattel.
I did used to work at Mattel, and my favorite toy is a hard question to answer because I had such personal attachment to toys. So my favorite toy to do research on was WWE action figures, because it was often with adult collectors, and we were talking to people who knew that it was staged, that it was, a dramatic thing, but didn't care and loved it anyway. And I just love passion so much. But then, also I loved, we made a Bubble Guppies toy called the Clambulance, which was based on a preschool cartoon that, I just loved being able to say Clambulance.
That's a fun word.
Yeah, exactly. So there were, so many of those kinds of things that just made me very happy.
Zach, are you looking at a picture of the toy?
Yeah.
Is it exactly what I think it is? I've never seen the Clambulance before.
I'm trying to find it.
I'm trying to think of any Mattel toys.
If I
that
ever
are still
see
in the house.
an ambulance parked outside a strip club, by the way.
That's the on-call.
It was a preschool cartoon, just so we're clear. But
here we go. Okay. Somebody called the Clambulance.
Oh, it's an ambulance for clams.
Look at that sick little clam.
Where's the shell?
That's why it's sick.
You got pulled out of the shell. Yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah. But I like the name much more than the product itself. It's just being able to say Clambulance.
I agree.
Because you can only get so annoyed at work when you're working on Clambulances all day.
Yeah, that's like the book we have at our house. That's How to Teach Your Cat About Gun Safety.
Great book.
Which is a great
title.
For a book, but there's crazy right-wingy shit in there.
Oh, really? I just like seeing it.
Yeah, no, you don't. You just want to see it on the wall. You don't want to actually.
It would have been
read
fine
the
if
book.
it was blank inside.
Yeah.
But
we could just probably cut it up and frame the cover. Honestly, all right, that's our show. I'm going to Finland. You guys are going to hear Batim, which was actually recorded yesterday. That's going to go up on Thursday.
Yes.
Congratulations to
Scott Sterling.
The winner of our contest. And hopefully we'll be seeing him in L.A. to collect his watch. We'll get out at him directly. That's excellent. And to everyone else who entered. That's all of you did a good deed. Raised a lot of money. They gave a lot of blood, a lot of platelets, and hopefully one of you guys gets a call that says we need your stem cells, and you'll step up then too. Also, I have finished my notebook. The blue, and actually I finished it so well that I had to put a Post-it on the inside back cover.
Wait, what?
Because tell them about your next notebook that's coming.
Oh yeah, because
big news.
We found in Miami these notebooks.
Wait, let me go to the tight shot for this.
We found in Miami these notebooks made of stone paper. It's paper made from recycled stone.
So,
and
does it weigh 1,000 pounds?
No, but
is it from Moses? Moses Publishing.
The paper feels really, really nice.
It feels like velvet.
Really
it's
velvety and slick to write on, but it's also waterproof. So you spill a fucking beverage on your shit, you just wipe it off.
What?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's called Karst, K-A-R-S-T is the company that makes them, and they make legal pads and sketchbooks and stuff too.
So what are you gonna do with the other 42 notebooks you have that are empty in your shelves?
This could be the next level of notebook. I don't know. It might also be terrible, but I'm gonna try it.
This animation they have is no joke.
Really?
Yeah.
It's also tear resistant, I think, because it's stone.
Tear resistant.
We called our own paper expert.
We did. We called Brad.
This is when you plug his company.
Oh, yeah. Brad owns a company called, the fuck is this paper? Oh, yeah, Eloom. They make paper goods.
They made our wedding invitations.
Yeah, they make stuff, on paper. And I was like, hey, man, is this stone paper legit? He's like, oh, yeah, it's awesome.
We had a guy on the inside who could tell us.
So I had to add a Post-it note rather than start a new notebook because this new notebook is on the way.
Cool.
I'm excited. I get excited about stupid shit. Stone notebooks, though. It's awesome.
It's your Cybertruck.
End.
It's a great show.
And cut.